Yo, what is going on, guys? Got a story for you here today titled Female Secretary Couldn't Believe That She Got Fired After Falsely Accusing a Coworker. And you know what? I'll take it one step further, guys. I think that these women who falsely accuse men should be prosecuted. They should be held liable for the lies and the slander that they put forward against men's lives, okay? Men's lives gets ruined by stuff like this, as I have mentioned before. So we have a story here today of yet another woman who's doing the whole, oh, he made me uncomfortable, he made inappropriate advances, and then all of a sudden, here come the consequences of her actions, and now she's surprised. Because guys, more and more so these days, at least I am hoping, I am trying to push for myself, we are removing the days of believe all women and trying to replace it with show me the evidence. And unfortunately for the women, guys, they just never seem to have a lot of evidence, do they? So let's jump into this story here and see what it's all about. But guys, before we jump into today's story, just a quick reminder that I have set up a second channel where I will be recording daily videos or thereabouts once again of women over on TikTok. I know a lot of you guys enjoy this video style, but to be honest, it's very headache inducing to make. So I will be making one video a day roughly over on the second channel. If that interests you guys, make sure you go and check out the second channel. I'm going to leave the link in the video description. It says a 35-year-old man recounts how a false accusation nearly destroyed his career. After being targeted by a secretary with a personal vendetta, he fights to clear his name, but the truth doesn't just exonerate him, it exposes her pattern of manipulation, leading to a firing that she never saw coming. This is what I think should have happened in the last story, by the way, guys, because these women, you know, they'll just go work in some other department, or they'll continue working in the exact same position, and they'll end up just doing it to some other guy, and hey, maybe it'll be successful and she'll ruin his life. So, it says, I'm 35 years old and I've worked in corporate environments for over a decade now. I keep my head down, I get my work done, and I try to stay out of drama. I like this guy, man. You know, stays out of the drama, goes to work to get his work done, makes sense to me. He says, I'm married, 2 kids, mortgage, all that. My reputation has always been good until one day it nearly wasn't. I work as a senior analyst at a mid-sized firm. We had a secretary, let's call her Amber, fitting by the way, who was in her late 20s, very social, always involved in everyone's business. She wasn't bad at her job, she was just immature. She thrived on gossip and passive-aggressive behavior. I mostly stayed out of her way until she made me her target. This is the funny thing about these sorts of people, man, is like, I don't think they should be in the workplace at all, right? If you're in the workplace and you're there because you view it as some sort of gossiping event, I don't think you should have been hired in the first place, guys. It's kind of like, you know, you go to the gym and you have those women in the gym that treat it as some sort of social event where they don't actually do anything. They just talk to everybody. And I have nothing against socializing, okay? But they treat it for the reason that, like, that's the reason why they're there. This woman, it doesn't sound to me like she's there to do her work. It sounds like she's quite literally there to gossip and cause issues. People who cause gossip, in my opinion, guys, always inevitably, they just end up causing issues wherever they go. He says, it began with something stupid. I corrected a minor scheduling error she made in a meeting invite, something that double booked our director and caused some confusion. I didn't report it to management or anything. I just emailed her directly and said, hey, just so you know, the calendar is showing a conflict. You might want to resend it. Her reply was oddly defensive, something like, I don't think it's that serious, but thanks for your input. Whatever, I moved on. But apparently she didn't. So this guy was honestly trying to help her, just by the way, right? He did it under the radar kind of thing, didn't go to the bosses and say, hey, she screwed up, she did this scheduling wrong. No, he sent her an email, let her know that something that she did was, you know, needed correcting, and that was it. But of course, she takes some great offense to it. I assume anyway. Over the next few weeks, I noticed little things. Colleagues were acting more distant. So from him, I would assume. A weird vibe in the break room. One of the newer interns who had always been friendly stopped making eye contact. Eventually, a friend from HR gave me a quiet heads up. Amber had told a few people I was creepy, that I made her uncomfortable. that I stared at her during meetings and lingered by her desk. I was stunned. None of it was true. I barely spoke to her outside of professional exchanges, but in today's environment, accusations like that can stick quickly, even without proof. I agree with this guy. Right? So she's accusing him of, being creepy and things like this. And guys, like, this is the exact same reason, by the way, why men just, they don't talk to women so much these days. I cover a lot of TikTok videos, and I'll go back to the TikTok videos at some point. I have a second channel where I'm doing daily ones or close to daily videos over there, unless I have something else to do during the day that makes me run out of time to do these videos. But I come across a lot of videos where women are saying, hey, listen, why don't men approach us? Why don't men talk to us anymore? Why don't men make the first move? But the problem is, number one, a lot of modern day women are entitled, etc. You guys know all that, right? But also, if you get labeled as the creepy guy, it completely socially ostracizes you, right? Men don't want to be labeled as the creepy guy. Like, guys, when I go to the gym, for example, I don't talk to women. I don't work out right next to women. I refuse to be labeled as that guy who's trying to chat up some woman who's creepy. I'd rather just not interact with them at all, to be honest with you. Now, does that mean I'm an a-hole if some woman wants to use the machine or whatever? Right? Does it mean I'm going to be rude? Obviously not, okay? But like, this is why I do, and I've also heard of a lot of office situations, guys. I know friends of mine, for example, like, men don't want to be in the same room as women in a workplace with nobody else there, for example, is because we don't want to have these sorts of labels. Women go, oh, it's not that bad, it's not that bad. Like, labels like this, guys, can very, very much so damage a man's social life and professional life. Like, this is no joke, okay? Oh, he got labeled a creep. That's actually kind of a big deal. It means people are going to treat you differently. You're no longer going to get presented with opportunities and so on. It's very, very bad stuff, guys. Like, very, very bad labels that men get tacked onto them. And this is why men don't interact. This is why men avoid women also. You won't catch me making comments at women or trying to talk to them. Like, just no, man, no. Let's continue. A week later, I was formally called into HR, and the complaint was vague, creating an uncomfortable work environment, no specific incident, no dates, just that Amber felt uneasy around me and claimed that I made suggestive comments. Okay, so she has nothing. They asked for my side. I told them the truth. I said I had limited interaction with her and found the claim completely baseless. Thankfully, our office uses badge access, cameras in common areas, and software to log internal communications. I requested a full review of our email history, chat logs, and any reported incidents. I even volunteered to be moved to a different floor if needed. I had nothing to hide. And this is one of those situations, man, where I say that the dude is lucky. He's got the cameras, okay? They're being watched and things like this. But imagine if there was no cameras, okay? Imagine if there was software to log the internal communications and things like this. This guy, for all intents and purposes, he could be screwed. You know what I mean? In today's day and age, guys, unfortunately, a lot of it is still, you are guilty as a man until you're proven innocent. Like, people will absolutely abandon you if you get accused of things like this. I've seen dudes lose friends over this. I've seen them lose professional opportunities over this. There are lots of very, very successful men who are like millionaires and stuff. They lose contracts and so on over stuff like this. No joke, man. It's absolutely no joke. So this guy got pretty lucky with the cameras and everything, in my opinion. So HR did their investigation, and it turns out not only did I not make any inappropriate comments, Amber had sent multiple flirty emails to me over the past year. Stuff like, you're the only reason these boring meetings are tolerable, and if I didn't know better, I'd think you were trying to flirt. I never responded to any of them inappropriately. I either ignored them or responded neutrally, trying not to cause a scene. Worse, HR discovered that she had done this before. 2 years ago, she accused a different coworker of being inappropriate, but quietly dropped the claim when management pressed for details. That guy eventually transferred departments. This time they had hard evidence and they acted. I mean, guys, again, I think that women should be held like equally as accountable for whatever the accusation is. Okay, so for example, if a woman accuses a dude of something and it turns out not to be true, the accusation that is, I think that the women should suffer the penalty, the same penalty as the accusation would have been. Okay, if you don't have the evidence, you shouldn't be able to make these sorts of claims. Or you can make them, but like, I want you punished for it. I think a lot of men can get behind that. Hell, I think a lot of women who are genuine victims of crap like this, they could probably get behind that too, because it would remove all the women, right? Or at least largely so. It would remove the women who are coming out here just trying to ruin dudes. Okay, this actually damages the people who are who are genuine victims of these sorts of things, by the way. So Amber was called in front of a HR meeting the following week. I wasn't told the details, but I got the gist from a coworker who saw her leave in tears with a cardboard box. Apparently, she genuinely didn't expect to be fired. She claimed she felt unsafe and was being punished for speaking up, but the logs didn't lie, and this time management wasn't going to sweep things under the rug. She was terminated for misconduct and making false accusations. I was cleared of everything. Excellent. So she got kicked out. She got booted. Fantastic. She couldn't believe it. Okay. It took a few weeks before things felt normal again. People who had distanced themselves slowly came back around. A couple of them even apologized for jumping to conclusions, as they should, by the way. Right? A lot of people don't apologize. They just do this whenever the man gets accused of something. They should absolutely apologize. And if they don't apologize, as the dude, you shouldn't. They're not your friends. You know, these people are not your friends. I personally wouldn't talk to them unless I absolutely had to. You know, because the types of people that do this without apologizing, man, they absolutely have cause to apologize. HR put out a generic statement reminding everyone of the importance of reporting in good faith. The worst part wasn't just about losing my job, or it wasn't just almost losing my job, excuse me. It was how fast the whispers started once the accusation was made, and how slow the support was when the truth came out. Yeah, this is what you'll find as a dude, guys, right? If a woman makes an accusation like this against you, a lot of men are going to be treated as guilty until proven innocent, right? You would think common sense would tell you that it was supposed to be the other way, especially if the accusation is something as serious as these sorts of things are. But no, right? Society will treat you as though you're guilty until you're proven innocent. And hell, even half the time, guys, you can go out there, you can win your court case, right? You remember Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, Amber Turd, as it were, right? As far as I remember, he won the damn case, and you still have huge amounts of women who, you know, are on the side of Amber Turd, for example. So, like, this will cause damage to you, and it can oftentimes, regardless of what the actual outcome is. Absolutely sad stuff. But good to see that the woman got fired. That's hilarious. But guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves out there, and I will see you all in the next episode. Peace.